You really like this girl, right? Let's say you're sitting in the corner of the classroom and she's in the other corner, she's with her friends. They're laughing and they're talking. You could be looking somewhere else, but all you want to do is focus on her voice that you hear in the corner of the room. And then you find yourself looking around, your eyes stray all over the place, maybe you look at the floor, and then wow, somehow your eyes end up magically on her over and over again. Whoops, 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 and you keep glancing at her over and over again, and then you know exactly what you're doing. You're trying to make like some sort of visual excuse for your eyes to land over there and try to make eye contact or just get a glance at her because you're so interested in her. If this is the dynamic between you and her, and you're always there praying and hoping for a wonderful event or situation that brings her over to you and has some external force initiate a conversation between both of you, and you guys have the opportunity to interact so that you can somehow charm her or create more of a connection. But if this is the dynamic between you two, the relationship is not going to happen. She's never going to be interested in you. And you have to trust me when I say this. And you can ask other girls, they will agree with me. If you put a girl on a pedestal before even knowing her, if you orbit around her and you are way more attracted to her than she is to you, the relationship is not going to happen because you have officially pedestalized her. You have made her more special than she actually is. And of course, all women are special and shit like that, yeah, sure. The problem is, since you've put her on a pedestal, what happens is, whenever you speak to her, she can smell your neediness. She can actually smell it, I promise you. In fact, she knows that you're glancing over at her over and over again. And she probably laughs with her friends that you're this, wimpy guy that keeps staring at her over and over again and not doing anything about it, not going up to her and speak to her. She knows you are glancing, I promise you. And even if she's super sweet and super kind, you will think that, oh, she'll never laugh about you with her friends. But she 100% at least mentions it if she has close friends, and her friends can see it as well. So you either go speak to her or you completely give up on this infatuation you have with her. When you pedestalize a girl, when you start to fantasize about a story between you two that has never happened, what happens is you create a lot of self-consciousness and hyper-awareness of social evaluation mid-conversation through those fantasies. And because of that, every time you speak to her in this heightened state of anxiousness. You speak to her with a lot of nervousness. And you might think that that is just who you are. You just can't handle those kind of situations. If you like a girl, you're going to get very nervous around her. It's just part of the game. That's not entirely false. But not only will fantasizing and pedestalizing a girl make it infinitely harder to speak to her, but you are also being very dishonest. It feels very difficult to speak to her because you have kind of convinced yourself that you need to hide your attraction for her. That's why you only glance from afar and then look all over the place. That's why when you do actually speak to her, or you feel like you could be seen by her, you start to put on a front or act out in strange ways to try to optimize how attractive you look. And that's like a very dishonest way of expressing yourself. And that dishonest way of expressing yourself actually makes you seem even more needy, which is even more unattractive to women. There's this chapter from The Way of the Superior Man that I really like. Your attraction to the feminine is inevitable. And this chapter talks about how if you're a masculine man, it is uncontrollable that you are attracted to feminine energy. And if you resist this attraction, it means you hold some level of shame with your masculinity. And this makes you more anxious to honestly express yourself. And people can see that. When you're with feminine energy, when you're with women, attractive women, you don't want to avoid the attraction you feel. You will inevitably feel attraction. It's just part of the game. And you're afraid that showing it, people will call you out for it and you'll be shamed for it. The way you look at her. If you look at her with full eye contact and you look like you are genuinely interested in her, you're afraid you'll be shamed for that, you'll be rejected for that. And that's not untrue, but here's the alternative. If you are ashamed of that and you're afraid of rejection for doing that, you instead act out in this really strange way. You either try to speak to her less, or you will always avoid eye contact. You will always avoid everything that could clue to you having attraction for the female in front of you. You're gonna have strange body mannerisms. You're gonna start evaluating your speech mid-sentence. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to connect with that person and to connect with the people around you. And how do you think they're going to think of you when you do that? So the way to cope with this is to be honest with yourself. You know exactly how you feel. You just have to accept that that's how you feel. And you got to smile about it and kind of accept that that's part of you. No shame involved. In fact, you should be proud of yourself. Your testicles work. You should kind of breathe in the energy, enjoy it. It's this really relaxing, really powerful and relieving, feeling of when you sigh, or I don't know, you hold your piss for like 50 years and you finally let it out and you go, It's just such a relaxing and relieving experience to be embraced by the feminine energy. In fact, let's do this imagination, okay? This is going to be pretty weird, so you better close your eyes. If you don't close your eyes, you're gay. Like, you gotta close your eyes for this, alright? Imagine a naked girl on top of you. You better be closing your eyes. Let's imagine a naked girl is on top of you. She's sitting on top of you. You're sitting down right now, I'm assuming. She's sitting on your lap, you know, her body facing you. And she's leaning on you and she has her arms around your neck. Feel her body against you. And as you breathe into your belly, feel your belly press into hers. And the entire weight of her body and her warm flesh leans onto yours. Feel her warmth, feel her feminine beauty, and breathe it in, you know, feel her really against you. And you feel this like relieving experience. It's just such a relaxing feeling, and it's not necessarily sexual. We wouldn't necessarily get aroused by that or shit like that. It's just this really calming, you know, you feel like you're, I don't know, expanding into the world. And you feel this strange cosmic radiance of a feminine energy. And that wonderful relieving experience should be how you feel when you're around attractive women. You embrace and appreciate their energy. Nobody will ever tell you this because it sounds weird as shit. And it does. It really does sound weird as shit. Because nobody dares to discuss it, right? No school will ever teach you how you can navigate the feminine essence and shit like that, you know, however weird that sounds. But that's precisely why you're so confounded with the energy, and then you try to hide your attraction for her as much as possible, which makes you even weirder. So let yourself feel that attraction to the feminine energy with no shame. It just means you have a pair of balls. It's a beautiful thing. You know, it really is a beautiful thing. And that girl that you really like, you either go and speak to her or you stop fantasizing about her and just assume that it's never going to happen. You just have to do it. You know, once you've put her on the pedestal, it's over. No girl wants to be the center of your world, unfortunately. They might say they want to, but once you do, they'll find you needy, they'll find you boring. With all due respect, like, rightfully so, you know. Your purpose should be always chasing something outside of women. You can't make women the center of your world. A girl will honestly find that disgusting. She will feel that pressure daunting and exhausting. She'll feel your neediness for her attention and affection to be very annoying. So either speak to her or forget about her. And forget about her with no resentment in your heart. Appreciate her for the person she is. And then you move on. You literally just close your eyes and walk on. And if you want to speak to her, if you know that that's the path you're going to take, you want to give this a shot, you want to man up, you know, grow a pair of balls, but you feel that daunting fear, like it's actually deathly. You really want to start conversations with her and you can't. You keep glancing over at her and looking back, glancing over and looking back. What you want to do to make this easier for yourself is you want to become that social person. You want to reorient your identity into that social person. And you might think like, oh, but I'm an introvert, so I can't speak to all these people. But being sociable isn't limited to being an extrovert. Introverted people can have zero social anxiety. Being an introvert and an extrovert, the most common definition for them is the extrovert derives his energy from connecting with people, and the introvert needs some alone time to, you know, recharge his energy. That's the most commonly recognized definition. An introvert can most definitely be sociable. And once you learn how to build your social proof, it becomes so much easier to speak to that girl. But there are a lot of things that will stand in your way. Like, for example, you might think that, oh, they already have this expectation of me. I'm already that quiet, lonely guy in the background. How can I be that person and then suddenly change into the social person? And then everybody will think of me weird. You know, there'll be more attention on me. Everybody will ask me questions and things like that. You know, you have a lot of resistance towards that. You can build this over time. And as time passes, you can establish your identity as the social person. Then when you speak to her, you know, it's going to be so much easier because you are already recognized as the social person. And why it makes it easier for you to speak to her when you're already the social person and people already expect that of you reinforces my previous point that you are afraid of showing attraction. You need the mask of, I'm a social person, and that's why I'm connecting with you, not because you're attracted to her. But it definitely makes it easier. So to summarize, here's how you can become a more social person even if you're introverted. First of all, you want to build social proof amongst the people both of you know commonly. So with everyone else in the class or whatever social environment you're in, you want to build rapport. You want to go and speak to every single person, as many as you can individually, until you're on good terms with every single person, or as many people as you can get, right? You want to be on a greeting basis with like everyone. And you do that by building up. You include more and more people into your group conversations. Every single day you try to speak to one new person. You try to connect with one new person in your class until you can, from your corner of your classroom, be talking to somebody individually that's closer to her. And you want to connect with both men and women, you need to get her off the pedestal. You have to speak to other girls as well, even if you're not interested in them. And you can do this for whatever social environment you're in. Let's say you like someone in the gym or something like that. You build social proof with the people around and eventually it becomes easier to go and connect with her. But since you're already in a fixed environment with that one person, it becomes infinitely easier because you have so much time to go and build rapport around that eventually you will get to speak to her. Because let's say you make friends with her friends individually and then they start to greet you. And then soon you have common topics with some of her friends and then they call you over to discuss those topics. You have infiltrated the gang. And if you want to skip all that social proof building, you gather the balls, you go up to her and you make up some random excuse to speak to her. You want to at least connect with her platonically. And you want to have something to focus on that is outside of her. You also want to be connecting with more women. It sounds bad, it sounds like, oh, playboy stuff. Not necessarily platonically. You want to connect with more women so that you can take women as a general group of people off the pedestal. You want to know that there are people you can actually connect with. You know, there are people that are alive and not fucking walking sex dolls from all that hentai you've been consuming. You want that knowledge. No woman wants to be the center of a man's world. Okay, most women don't. It's just a very, icky feeling. Neediness in a guy is incredibly unattractive. So you go and speak to her, get your heart broken, or you don't speak to her, stop thinking about her. Make sure you use pure discipline to never ever consider her ever again. And even if she shows you some little sign or response to your text, it does not mean she likes you. It does not mean you have a chance at all. Because the dynamic still remains that you like her way more than she likes you. If she likes you more than you like her, you will know. You 100% know. You have zero doubt. And if you have any doubt, it means that you like her more than she likes you. And from there, dynamic already ruined. So don't put anyone on a pedestal. Don't fantasize about your relationship with them because that will sabotage your chances of ever getting with them. Ever. And that sucks. I know. I struggle with it all the time, but once I start fantasizing, I know, alright, I'm cooked. It's really just like that. You can have unlimited arguments against that, but I guarantee you like a girl, you fantasize about her, it's not happening. Unless you guys are already dating or you guys are already in a talking stage, alright, then fuck you, okay? Fuck you. I'm talking about if you are strangers, if you haven't connected properly and you like her a lot based off how she looks, you've already formed a whole fucking story with you and her, you think her character is so wonderful. When you haven't actually connected with her, you've only seen how she acts around other people. You haven't heard her opinions about life and things like that and her future projection and what kind of person she is when she's actually tested. You have no idea of any of that. You've just kind of painted a fucking you kind of profiled her from afar, and that's retarded. And then from there, you've already convinced yourself that you like her so much and her character is absolutely amazing because you have pedestalized her. So, if that's the case, the relationship is not working out. And I know how it feels. It's fucking heartbreaking, why me? Why can't I just like someone and them like me back? Is it that hard? I've heard so many people who have the same fucking story. They like someone, they like them, and wow, where's my shit? I know. It sucks. It absolutely sucks, but it's really part of the game. You just gotta take it like a good boy. And honestly, girl problems, liking a girl and her not liking you back, this kind of heartbreak problems, they aren't real problems. They really aren't real problems. There's someone out there, same age as you, probably looks like you, right? Their whole family just got ran over by a truck. And they would trade lives with you in an instant. There's people out there who have dated girls for years, and then that girl, turns out their kid together is not that guy's that he's been raising for years. There's other men your age going through way more retarded shit than you are. Girl problems are legitimately not problems. And if you think they are a problem, you're literally spitting in the face of people who have actual problems. Be patient with yourself, understand that, oh yes, I'm hurting. But of course, there's so many other people out there dealing with real problems, and it will be a disservice to them if I let this break me, if I let this make me give up. Hold on to the things you find purposeful. Do your best to resist pedestalizing a woman, because if you do, you're sabotaging your chances of connecting with them. Let's work on ourselves, let's develop our competence, let's develop our social skills, let's develop our mental health, and reduce our shame of having attraction for the feminine, so that when we express ourselves in a group or one-on-one with them, we're able to express ourselves so much more honestly. We're able to be so much more comfortable knowing that, I do find her attractive and I'm not going to try to resist that. I'm going to enjoy her presence while I'm there and not overly evaluate how I appear to her. From there, we can actually increase the chances of actually connecting with women we like so much more. And Not only that, with friends, if you pedestalize anyone, even a person that you're not romantically interested in, you are sabotaging your relationship, your potential relationship with them. So be careful of that. If you find yourself overly admiring someone, make sure you remind yourself that, all right, my ultimate focus in life is this, this, this. My principles are this, 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 and I'll keep those in mind. I'll keep connecting with people. That person isn't as special as I think. Resist the pedestalization. Yes, you are grateful for that person. I'm sure that person is absolutely wonderful. But you shouldn't be fantasizing about them. You shouldn't be rehearsing conversations about them to appear as attractive as possible. And you shouldn't be so afraid of what they think of you that you don't speak to them at all. Keep your priorities in mind, hold on to your principles, stand for what you find to be important, even if it means standing alone. You got this. Use that heartbreak to build something badass, to become someone badass. Really grip your balls. You are a man, and don't be ashamed of liking a girl. You are a man, and don't be ashamed of liking a girl. Breathe in their feminine energy, enjoy their presence, look at them with that love and appreciation for that moment, for that connection. Just breathe it in and never let heartbreak break you. So yeah, good luck. You got this. It's better.